fractional executives actually make? If you're a seasoned senior leader thinking about going fractional, this is probably the question that's quietly running in the background. Can you really replace or even beat my corporate income? I'm going to give you real numbers, not hype. And here's the honest answer up front. The top of this market earns more than most full-time executives working fewer hours, but it's not automatic, and I'll be straight with you about what separates the executives who hit those numbers from the ones who struggle. I'll show you what they're actually earning, why the math works, and the income ranges by role. The 3 things that drive the highest incomes and the most common mistakes that caps what you can make. So let's get into it. Let's start with real numbers because there's a lot of vague hand waving out there. According to the Vendex Global Fractional Executive Survey, more than half of fractional executives, about 53%, are already earning over $100,000 a year, and 12% earn more than $250,000. But let me be honest about what those numbers mean and don't mean. They don't mean that you're going to snap your fingers and hit $250,000. They're a snapshot of an established market where people at the top are doing extremely well, often with more freedom and less grind in their corporate roles. The ceiling here is high, but it's real. Fractional work is not a step down or a semi-retirement gig. This is for executives who want to treat this like a business, and for those who do, it's a genuine high-income model. And that spread tells you something. Where you land isn't random. It comes down to how you position, how you price, how you run the business, which is what the rest of this video is about. This is not a shrinking pond. This market is expanding really fast, with professionals adding fractional to their title up to roughly 80% every single year. There's more demand, there's more budget, but there's more room. So how is it possible to out-earn a full-time executive while working fewer hours? The portfolio model. The single most important concept in fractional income. In one corporate job, you have one employer, one salary, and one point of failure. As a fractional executive, you serve several clients at once, typically 3 to 5, each paying you a monthly retainer for roughly a day a week. So here's the math that surprises people. If 4 clients each pay you $10,000 a month, that's a $40,000 a month retainer, $480,000 a year, for what amounts to a full but flexible week. And it exceeds the total comp of a single full-time role. And it isn't just the income that's better. It's the stability. With one job, if you're laid off, your income goes to 0 overnight. With 4 clients, if a single engagement ends, you've still got 75% of your income and the time to replace the one that's rolled off. You have diversified your risk in a way a single salary never can. Picture this, the executive with one job spends every layoff rumor quietly updating their resume. The fractional with 4 clients treats a contract ending like a Tuesday, moving from a warm conversation that's already in the pipeline into their open slots. Same skills, completely different relationship with risk. So let's get specific because the numbers vary a lot by role. A typical fractional COO typically commands $10,000 to $20,000 a month a client. 3 clients is an annual potential of roughly $360,000 to $540,000, comfortably above a full-time COO around $270,000 plus benefits. A fractional CMO, this is my world, serving 4 clients is roughly looking at $330,000 to $480,000 a year. That is more than what many full-time CMOs make even at large enterprise company. Now, a fractional CTO commands $8,000 to $20,000 a month with 3 clients. If they're landing, $280,000 to $600,000 a year against a full-time equivalent around $250,000 plus equity. And fractional CFOs, the single most in-demand role right now, spans a similarly wide range depending on the company's stage. But I want you to notice the pattern. A focused portfolio of 3 to 5 clients meets or beats the full-time equivalent with more flexibility and fewer hours. These aren't fantasy numbers. These are real market rates. But where you land inside each range is driven almost entirely by positioning. A generalist sits at the bottom of the band. A specialist known for one specific outcome sits at the top because there's almost no one to compare them to. The role sets the range. Your positioning, that's what decides where you land in it. So what drives the executives at the very top? Three things. First, multiple income streams. Several clients means diversified, stable revenue and the freedom to fire a bad fit client. Second is premium pricing. Companies aren't paying you to fill a seat or log hours. They're paying you to solve urgent, high-stakes problems. When you position yourself as a specialist with a clear outcome and a proprietary method, you will command far higher rates than a generalist. Third, this model scales without working more hours. You will not grow income by grinding out more time. You grow by raising your rates, tightening your scope to really high leverage work, and you get to be more selective. Your income ties to the value you create, not the clock on the wall. And that's the exact opposite of how a salary works. And the whole reason the ceiling is so much higher. Here, premium pricing is made concrete. A fractional COO who installs an operating model that lets a company double headcount without breaking isn't worth a few $100s an hour. They're worth a retainer measured against millions that the scale unlocks. Price that kind of value and the numbers on the table earlier, they stop looking aspirational. They're what the worth is worth. Now, the single most common mistake that quietly caps fractional income, because executives, they just walk straight into it. It is charging by the hour. When you bill by the hour, you've instantly handed yourself a hard ceiling. Because there are only so many hours in the week, your income is capped no matter how good you are. And when your pay is tied to your time instead of the impact you make, you're rewarded for being slow. You're being penalized for being efficient. Top earning fractional executives don't sell hours. They sell outcomes on a retainer. Think about this, the actual value a CFO can bring if they can cut a monthly's burn by $100,000. Or think about a CMO who can triple the qualified pipeline in 90 days. That transformation is worth a premium retainer. Pricing it by the hour, it leaves enormous amount of money on the table. But here's the honest caveat I promised right up front. None of these numbers are guaranteed. What you actually earn depends on your niche, your positioning, the quality of your clients, and whether you build a real system to find them. The income potential is genuinely there, but it rewards the executives who treat this like a business and not a side gig. That's the good news that's hiding inside the caveat. The income isn't luck. It's a set of decisions you actually control. Who you serve, what you charge, and how you find them. So how much do fractionals make? Here's the honest summary. More than half earn more than $100,000 a year, and the top of the market is clearing more than $250,000, frequently out-earning full-time roles with fewer hours. The math works because of the portfolio model. 3 to 5 clients on retainers. That is going to beat a single salary, and you've got your risk spread across all of them. The highest earners drive with multiple income streams, premium, outcome-based pricing, and a model that scales without having to work more hours. The single fastest way to cap yourself, charge by the hour, because you're now charging for the time you have, not the transformation you create. The income here is real, and it rewards the executives who build it intentionally. Your experience already qualifies you. What's left is building the business around it. Now, here's the part that actually determines whether you're going to hit these numbers or not. And it's not your expertise. You already have that in spades. It's whether you have a reliable system to attract the right clients consistently so those retainers stay full instead of feast or famine. And that, more than anything, separates the executives who earn at the top of these ranges from those who quietly struggle. I break it down exactly how to build that system in the next video, the system behind predictable pipeline for fractional executives. Go watch that one next because that's where the income actually gets built.